All right, final game on the slate, Pac-12. Really the game of the year in that conference, what's left of it. USC number 7 at number 20, Utah. Utah, a 3.5-point favorite. I think that's going to surprise a lot of casual fans, given how much hype USC has had. Over under of 65 in this one. Do you agree with Utah being more than a field goal favorite in this game against the hyped Trojans?
That's interesting. More than a field goal favorite. If you're going to ask me if I agree with them being favored, the answer is yes. But more than a field goal favorite is interesting. I am not getting in on this. This is the first big game for USC under Lincoln Riley and Caleb Williams. I'm not a big fan of first timers. Utah's had multiple big games this year. It is worth noting, though, that they are 0-2 in those big games. Going to Florida, they lost. And then they played at UCLA. They got stomped at UCLA. And UCLA is a very good football team. I'm really interested to see how they track for the rest of the year. Maybe setting up a really interesting USC-UCLA matchup later on. That 3.5 is interesting, but I'm not laying the points with USC. The market didn't overreact to Utah's loss against UCLA, which is great. I like when the market doesn't overreact, even though it's not great for value for us bettors. Utah's defense, though, does have some serious problems in that they're missing a lot of their guys from last year. Their offense is still clicking, it's still great, but that defense is very porous. Now, USC's defense is also porous, and they're not this physical beat you up team that we've seen beat Utah twice this year. And Utah is 4-0 in their winnable games so far this year. They're undefeated in their winnable games, and they are winless in their big games. Which one does this classify as? I don't know. The number in front of USC tells me it's one of those really big games. But it's also at home, and USC, like you said, it's a lot of hype. They haven't really shown it yet. So I'm not laying the points at the USC. But again, I'm also not laying the points with Utah because 3 in the hook at home against a much higher ranked team with a lot of offensive star power and Utah's defense not being all that great, that doesn't excite me as something I want to bet on.
If this gets under a field goal in the live market early on in this game, I will bet Utah. And
I will also bet Utah, yes.
Yeah. So to me, it's because USC is really bad at stopping the run. Utah is pretty physical. They are top 40 in EPA rushing. USC is outside the top 100. So I think that's the biggest mismatch in this game. I think that allows Utah to shorten the game, to keep it close, and to ultimately pull out a close game here at home. We saw USC had trouble on the road going to Oregon State earlier this year. A game with a spread that had people scratching their heads a lot when it dipped from like 2 touchdowns down to inside 7. And it was the right side. Oregon State was in that game all the way and frankly probably should have won the game. USC squeaked out a 17-14 win in that one. So I think that this line is appropriate. I'm surprised it's this. It seems the market has sniffed it out. It seems the odds makers have sniffed it out, and they've had this game circled all season long as a spot where USC is most likely to lose. But if we get under a field goal in the live market, I'm in. And you said you agree on that, right?
Yeah, I do. And I think our opportunity for the market catching up to USC and being able to bet USC pretty profitably is over. That kind of sucks. It was a fun ride while it lasted. And it's not to be understated that Rice-Eccles Stadium is a extremely difficult place to play. This isn't, no offense to Oregon State, this isn't Reser Stadium. This is Rice-Eccles in Salt Lake City. It is one of the most difficult places to play in the Pac-12, maybe behind Autzen.